Dr. Simia Topal is a scholar of religious studies who received her PhD at Arizona State University in 2012. She's worked as an assistant professor of sociology at Fatih University in Turkey for 3 years until it was closed down by the Turkish government last summer. She is currently a visiting scholar at ASU and a volunteer at the SEMA Foundation, which is established by Turkish Arizonans. When I spoke with her about our monthly theme of desolation and consolation, she said nothing could more relate to the experience of Turkish refugees right now. Dr. Topal, welcome to Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the whole congregation for having me here as a speaker. As a scholar of religion, I am fascinated by religion and the people who are following religions, and I have been just observing this service with awe. It is also lovely and bright, but as again, there is terrible politics. I mean, we cannot leave it behind our doors. It follows us everywhere. And it kind of pushed me away from my country in a way when my school was closed down. But that was a very tiny piece of what happened to a group of people, a big group of people. And today, I want to talk actually on behalf of them. I usually do speak on my own behalf. I do not say the word we, I always say I, but I felt like I should speak as we today because we are a group of people who believe that faith and love are inseparable. If you have faith, you must have love for the creation. And that's what we called ourselves as a movement, as a congregation of service. That's what the name we use in Turkish is hizmet, which means service. So we came together as faithful Muslims who believed that we should be showing care and love towards the world, to humanity. And what we did is we basically came up to establish schools and dorms and collected scholarships for students. Then we established hospitals, all kinds of institutions and universities in 40 years in Turkey. This is the hizmet movement in Turkey, and I became part of it in college, and for my 15 years of life, I kind of worked together with a wonderful group of people who volunteered most of their time for other people, as the people outside who established those tables and selling the stuff. That is kind of part of the whole movement. So the sad part is the movement got crushed down where it was born, in Turkey. It was born in Turkey, but again, terrible politics comes into play. When you're trying to make things live, you see other things coming to kill you down. I thought a lot about the experience of Jesus, actually, when I felt like, why is the whole nation coming out against this movement that has been trying to serve the people and tell them the real value of love and put love in action? That was the message. And yet you saw people growing huge enmity and hostility towards these people, saying that you're trying to get our jobs, get our money, you're becoming just too powerful and trying to threaten our political system. Kind of remind me very much of what Jesus went through, and he was giving life and love all his life, but what he saw in return was they want to destroy him. So of course we're not Jesus. Of course we had our human mistakes, and maybe we did some wrong policies here and there, but what's happening in Turkey right now is you cannot really describe or define it with any kind of here's your crime and here's your punishment. What is happening is, for the last 3 years, the Turkish government started a war against the civic movement, which is comprised of people like me, educators. professionals and journalists, all kind of people who dedicated their lives to the well-being of the society. And they started to imprison people for giving donations to the charities or for giving scholarships to students studying in the schools established by these people. And then they started to go out outside of Turkey and hunt these people even in the US, kind of because the volunteers of the movement are not in Turkey. They have spread out the whole world and kept doing the same thing that they've been doing in Turkey, opening schools, establishing dialogue centers and engaging in interfaith dialogue with people. So currently, more than, I would say, 100,000 people have been detained or arrested in Turkey with really no charges, no evidence to really put them in jail for more than 8 months. And some of them are people I know personally. Most of them are journalists. I think you have heard that journalism in Turkey is really in a terrible situation right now. And academics, again, they closed down 15 universities in one night only. My school was a 20-year-old university. We had 5 faculties and 15,000 students and 500 academics. All these people were just left without anywhere to go. People who were able to escape, who had their visas, they just ran away, and they just ran away with nothing. Imagine you're a professor, you have everything in your life, and in one night you are declared to be a criminal for the regular thing you do. You don't do actually anything different, but things change, the political definitions change, and your service work becomes a criminal activity, a trader activity. So I have so many academic friends here in Arizona and also in different states in the US who had to leave Turkey with their families with nothing in their hand. Usually, if they were able to sell their house or their cars, they did, but people were also afraid to buy their properties in Turkey, so some of them were not able to sell their properties even. They came here again with nothing and trying to establish lives. So for the last 8 months, we have been trying to come back to our senses. First of all, it was a trauma that for many of us, and then we tried to come together and support each other. But most of it was about actually meeting the basic survival needs. And this is a new thing for many of these people. They were of like upper middle class, educated people living in Turkey, and all of a sudden in one night, you wake up with nothing. And then you have to really figure out what this means, like what's going on. And there's the feeling of desolation in me is a huge desertification, like the lack of or the drying of all these flowers that we planted in 40 years. Education is a very delicate business. You spend so much time and effort to raise one person to serve to the community. And all of a sudden, you lose your credentials, you lose your diploma and everything. It is a huge loss. It's like all your orchard or all your flowers just getting dried in one night, like a radiation effect or something. So it comes to my mind when I look back in Turkey, I see desolation in the sense of the destruction of all the highly educated or well-raised people who cared about their society or who cared about other people. Where do we find the consolation? Then I thought about, well, maybe we lost it there, but when we came here, we found love that we always have cherished. So our principle is love the love and hate the hate. It's not about people. Some people might come out against us and do not maybe respond to us in ways that we do not expect. But then we will leave them behind and go and seek for other people who will give love to us, and who we will give love. And that brings us to the issue of borders and identities. I have discovered or rediscovered the sense of when you love, it doesn't matter whether it's in a church or in a mosque or in a synagogue or in a temple. What we should seek for is love and care for each other. And here we are as our community members, opening up our hearts and asking your support in our effort to show love to these people who were badly affected by what happened. So you cannot always expect people to respond in healthy ways when they go through a trauma. Sometimes you need to go to them and remind them that you're such a valuable person, this is who you are. Do not think that being a refugee or being an asylum seeker makes you a lesser person than you are. I guess this is what should be shared with the communities, that refugees always have these crisis of identity. Who am I? Who was I and who am I now? And who will I be? In these kind of situations, when you can help them to raise at least the level of survival, I mean, if at least they should not be considering or caring about what will I eat today? How will I pay my rent this month? What will I give to my child when he or she asks such and such? So if we can help these people to really alleviate these kinds of concerns, and they can bloom again as their flowers because they are really valuable people. They have all these skills and assets that they have served to their communities for all these years. And when they come here, they're ready to serve, they're ready to share, and they're ready to love. I speak of from experience now. Before it was all reading and on papers, but now I know what it feels to be an outsider, a refugee, a newcomer, a guest, someone who does not belong to where they are, and what that means for those people. So once again, I thank you very much for giving me the chance to share these feelings with you, and we are here after the service to share our delicious food and beautiful crafts, but also we can have conversations and have contacts. We have actually a project called Peace Islands. Its aim is to bring together Muslim families and non-Muslim families together in dinner table or for breakfast or lunch, but in people's houses, in the private sphere. So we believe that once we share the food in a house, in a home, it really can grow more feelings of intimacy between us. So if you want to be part of this project, if you want to host Muslim families in your houses for a meal, please come and see us and sign up for that. We will be happy to work together with you in this project. And also, if you have any further questions or comments, come and see me. Thank you very much again, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks.
Dr. Topal, we are honored that you're here, and we feel like family. I hope that we can be that for you all. I want to skip forward to one final reflection on the theme. We must try to praise the mutilated world. So says the poem written by Adam Zagashevsky just after the 9/11 bombing. It goes like this. Try to praise the mutilated world. Remember June's long days and wild strawberries, drops of rosé wine, the nettles that methodically overgrow the abandoned homesteads of exiles. You must praise the mutilated world. You watched the stylish yachts and ships. One of them had a long trip ahead of it, while salty oblivion waited others. You've seen the refugees going nowhere. You've heard the executioners sing joyfully. You should praise the mutilated world. Remember the moments when we were together in a white room and the curtain fluttered. Return in thought to the concert where music flared. You gathered acorns in the park in autumn and leaves eddied over the earth's scars. Praise the mutilated world and the gray feather a thrush lost and the gentle light that strays and vanishes and returns. This is no every cloud has its silver lining sort of philosophy. That would be absurd, even vulgar, in the face of 9/11, in which setting this poem was written. Instead, I see this poem as an expression of deep faith that whatever happens, however life goes, it's all undergirded by a deep and pervasive goodness. This praising the mutilated world is a faith that life is good and worth the living. I think there's very little that's supernatural about all of this. What makes it true in large part is us. The pervasive goodness shows up in a person running into danger to save another, or protesting for another person's rights, or sending a note of support in tough times. So let us try to praise the mutilated world. And when we are too lost to praise, let us watch, pay attention. The goodness will show up again and again and again, sometimes in us. Amen.